Jen.
Hi, Em. So exciting to do this episode with you while you're on maternity leave,
This
quote
is
unquote.
quote unquote. How's it going for me? I've been doing a great job staying off of Slack. I've been doing a great job not answering text messages,
Sending emails. She
sending
literally
emails.
cannot help herself.
Okay, but really good compared to how I usually would be. Imagine you trying to do this.
Oh no, I wouldn't.
It'd be impossible, right?
It'd be impossible.
But this is okay. I'm gonna be totally transparent. I saw Kylie Kelsey did an episode of her podcast right after she gave birth, and I was like, I'm gonna do that. So I have Birdie here. She is passed out in a little swing next to me. So when she starts to stir, I'm gonna bring her up. But yeah, I gave birth 12 days ago.
I was just gonna say, let's give some context
The
to
context
how long
is
it's been.
12 days.
But
But to be fair, I went to a concert 6 days after and I
right.
ran into a friend and she was like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Wearing a diaper, baby." Like wearing a diaper at this concert
Just like the baby.
with the baby. Yeah, her and I were in diapers together.
That's so fun. It's
Beautiful,
like
you know?
it's almost like you're wearing like matching concert t-shirts, but
They were matching diapers.
matching concert diapers.
Mine were Depends and hers were Pampers. And that
Wow.
is advice for anyone who is going to be postpartum is buy the fancy Depends and then you don't have to wear the big ass pads.
Honestly,
That
that's nice.
listen, I'm telling you, the nice Depends are classy.
You
It's a
know,
classy move.
some
I'll link it in the bio.
link in our bio. Honestly, we should get some sort of Depends kickbacks.
Do you think
That's you know how when celebrities like start doing like Depends commercials, they have
Activia
like
Depends?
yeah,
Going the other
Activia,
way.
they've like kind of lost it. Like I think that's us.
It's definitely where I am right now. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, you gave birth 12 days ago. When did you go into labor? Let's
Okay, wait.
be
So
clear.
I had to do, I don't know if this is the entire world, but at my OB in my hospital, if you do IVF, you have to get induced at 39 weeks, a medical induction, because there's a high chance of the placenta detaching from the baby. And so you don't get a choice. I did try to fight it for a while. And then I had this amazing doula. I have to shout out King of Pressure doulas, KOP doulas. They were so amazing to work with. You work with two doulas. I work with Alex and Lacey because sometimes your labor goes on for so long, they have to switch off. And so I'm doing this prep session and I'm sort of like going into this and I'm like, I don't need to be induced. This is bullshit. It's the medical system. Lacey, my doula, was like, I'm going to be honest with you. There is research to support. There's research to support everything they're saying. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'll do the medical induction. So I have to go in at 39 weeks. And an induction is crazy because you wake up and you have to call at 7:30 in the morning and they basically say come in or don't come in. So I call at 7:30 in the morning. They're like, there's no beds, call back at 3:30. So call back at 3:30. They're like, there's no beds, call back at 7:30 p.m. And then at 5:30, I get a phone call and they're like, there's a bed, you have to come right now. So you're like, what the fuck? I guess I'm gonna go have a baby now. And you're like sort of going through like all day. Like you were texting me, you're like, so what are you doing? I'm like, waiting, hanging out. And it's hard, especially when you have another child, because I like don't know what to say to my kid. I'm like, maybe we're going to the hospital, maybe we're not, maybe you're staying at grandma's house tonight. I do not fucking know, bro. If you have a child like me, she really wants expectations, right? She really wants to know what's going on. She's like a firstborn. And you have nothing to give them. So go to the hospital and do medical induction. They start you with either a pill or a vaginal gel to start to dilate you. So I go in, you take this pill, you take like a half a pill every few hours. And it's supposed to start contraction. And the contractions are actually like more intense than if you went into natural labor because you're putting something in your body to do it. It's
Right.
not like this slow process, right? We're like with my firstborn, my water broke at home. I went into natural labor. At the beginning, it just felt like period cramps. Like that wasn't this experience. Here's the thing though, my body and this baby both don't fucking like being told what to do. So
Not just your body, you.
it's me in general. This child is gonna be like that. And so yeah, so 24 hours in, nothing. So then they do what's called like a Foley catheter, Foley balloon or some shit. I don't know. We can Google that later.
Yeah.
And they fill up this balloon and put it inside you.
Yeah.
And that was the worst part because the idea of something foreign inside my body, I didn't like that.
Yeah.
But it dilates you. So then it dilates you to like 6 centimeters. Then it's like, okay. And then it pops and comes out. And then your water is supposed to break. And basically everything that's supposed to happen is not happening for me.
Right. Everything you expected to happen did not
Mm-hmm,
happen.
mm-hmm. And I had said to a doctor, like, listen, like, I don't want to have a C-section. And I'm like concerned about the induction, all the stuff. Is this going to lead me to a C-section? And one of the doctors goes, well, we have the lowest C-section rate in the region. And I said, well, why is that? And he looks me dead in the fucking eyes and goes, because we'll let you suffer for days.
He said suffer. He said suffer.
And I understand you might hear that and you think that's fucked up. I thought that was the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Were you on drugs at this point?
No, I was not. But you have to understand, I'm someone who likes like extreme honesty,
Yeah.
right? Like I have a thick. Oh,
Is she up? Is she up?
she was like, I don't like extreme honesty.
Yeah, she's like
Hold on.
not into that. Yeah,
Let's
let's see her.
She okay. But I have to take these little headphones off. Hold on, because
That's
this one
fine.
won't let me go long enough. You talk.
Oh, great. Okay, just leave me here to talk. I'll give you like commentary almost like it's a sports game since I watch so many sports. Now we're seeing Birdie and she's like, I'm giving sports commentary. That was the only
Say
thing I knew how to do.
hi.
Look how cute she is.
Little. She's little.
She's so
Loves a
small.
passy.
Oh,
This is Birdie.
hi,
Cute,
Birdie.
huh?
Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the pod.
We need to do maybe I think when Millie was 1 and we like first started the podcast, remember I have that video of me like bouncing her up and
Yes.
down. I think that was our first
It
episode
was our
ever.
first episode ever that we recorded in my bedroom.
Yeah, we should do we'll post that so
I'm
so
into that.
everyone can
Yes.
see it. But I think we have to do a redo whenever Birdie is that age.
Because you
Was
probably can't pick up Millie to do that now.
I've gotten a little stronger.
She told you that. I
She
will tell
did.
you this though, when you have a 6 year age gap,
Yeah.
you will come home from the hospital with this one, and your child will feel like a giant compared to this. Like Millie, who I can like, toss around and carry no
Yeah.
problem, suddenly feels much heavier when you're now carrying around just 8 pounds.
Yeah.
It's mainly diaper pee.
Shit, right. Diaper pee. You think like 4 pounds of that is diaper pee?
It's a significant amount of
Right.
wet ass diapers.
Right. Wet ass diapers.
Wad. Write a song about that, Cardi.
That's definitely going to be her follow up. It's not even a question. Once again, if we go from celebrities being at a certain point to talking about diapers, that's where Cardi's going next.
It is the future. So basically, yeah, everything. Hello,
Oh,
you're a wiggly one.
she's whipping around.
Everything that was supposed to happen did not happen. So 4 days of labor. At one point, I get what's called ox. So then you get this thing. So once you have like dilated a certain amount and you're contracting a certain amount, then they do what's called pitocin. You get pitocin.
Wait, can I pause to just do a quick interlude for absolutely no reason? I during this time was waking up every single morning,
Thinking you're gonna wake up to,
rushing to my phone, looking for a baby picture, and all
and there
I'm
wasn't.
getting are pictures of Emmalee in bed. Just
Often
like
with a face
thumbs
mask
up.
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Often with a face mask on or some very nice
Yes.
eye stuff.
Yes.
4 days in labor and delivery.
That's insane. Everyone says your second's
Three.
supposed to be quick.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do this episode on. This episode is essentially an entire episode of calling bullshit because everything everyone told me was fucking wrong. And when you listen to everyone else, you are setting yourself up for disaster. That is what I know now. And
So like what
in all facets of life, not just about birth.
100%. So what were your expectations that weren't met
I'm gonna
throughout
go
this?
in. The induction's gonna be lovely. I'll have her, 10 hours later. It'll be easy.
Quick.
They fly out of there. The second one, um 4 days in labor and delivery. They told me I almost hit the record for the longest person. I mean, to the point where I almost changed my billing address to this fucking hospital. I was there for so long. Nurses were coming in and apologizing to me.
That's so
We're
nice.
so sorry you're still here. I said, me too, baby. What are we
What
gonna do?
what is the record
I
that
don't know.
you
I didn't ask, but I didn't make it.
I would have been pissed at that point that
You didn't make it.
I didn't make it. You know what
Well,
I
then at
mean?
one point, then it was Friday the 13th, and I was like, fuck yeah, she's gonna be born on Friday the 13th. I'm gonna get a witch. And then she ended up being born on Donald Trump's birthday.
Oh my God, I didn't even realize.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I almost I was like, should I shut my
I
legs?
bet I bet that I bet that wasn't part of your expectations. There was a military parade for her birthday.
Yep. There's this book called like the birthday book, and it's like all like it's like every single date, and it says like, by date and personality.
Yeah.
And I opened up to June 14th. I want to know like what all Birdie's information. It's like celebrities with his birthday, Donald Trump. And this was definitely written before he was ever president.
Right.
Because it says it's in the description, it's like Donald Trump in quotes, and it's like a hotel, like what I mean, like entrepreneur, like it's like something like didn't say like, worst president ever, in my opinion. Um and that's how I get kicked out of the country now. Any of this on record. And it literally says like, well, girls and boys born on this state are very different. Men tend to be like highly narcissistic,
Wow.
and women tend to be like incredibly I think it's an argumentative. I'll have to look it up. But
Fun. Fun. She's gonna be fun.
combative maybe was the word actually.
Cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
but that's good because maybe she'll be less conflict avoidant than I was for most of my life.
Maybe she'll
Yeah,
actually just be assertive, right? Or are we saying combative because
it's a
we need
woman.
to be a little, it's right. We need
Yes.
to feminize this book a little
Exactly.
bit.
Yeah. I'll take a pic. We'll put the link to the book in the bio. You can
What
all decide for yourselves.
next to the diapers?
Well, also like it literally was like, oh, June 14th, June 12th, and Frank. Like it was all these wonderful people. And then it was like June
Oh,
14th, Donald Trump. And I was like, great,
oof.
here we are.
I would like for you to read our birthdays at some point on the
Yeah, I
podcast.
read mine. Mine was really interesting. Yeah, I will have to do that next time.
Yeah.
Mine was like, basically everyone in your life doesn't think you respect them because
It's almost like if anyone's been on CoStar and like has friends
and they
connect
just talk shit.
CoStar is trying to
Stir the pot.
start some shit. Yeah, stir
Yeah,
the pot.
co-star does not make you feel good about any of your
It'll be like
relationships.
it'll be like Emily is talking shit about you today.
Wait, I'm gonna open up CoStar right now and see what it is.
See what it
Um,
says.
it's okay.
It'll be
Stay
like
there.
it'll be like you you and Emily aren't in sync today. You're
Yeah, it's gonna be horrible, right?
she's talking shit about you.
Yeah. So okay, so CoStar, the app, you put in like your astro. Okay, let's see what it says for Jennifer and me today. Um, oh, you and Jen keep each other focused today. Jen can help you get to the bottom of things today. Turn their name into a verb. Write a poem about it. Okay,
Okay,
actually, we're
CoStar.
doing pretty well today.
Wow. We're in
That
sync.
could have been worse.
It could have been.
Sometimes it's like you and Jennifer should stay far away from each other.
Yes. And we're talking like all day that
And
day.
you're like, oh, that's not good. Okay, so whatever. So you take this pitocin, I get oxytocin overload. I have to go up. Like basically everything that could happen happens. At one
Yeah.
point, my IV gets knocked out of my arm. I don't notice that it is, so I take an entire bag of saline into just into my forearm. So my arm was the size of a massive softball underneath. Like I had allergic reaction to the adhesive. They had to put this monitor on my stomach. My skin bubbled up and burns. Just okay.
How?
So then it comes time that I'm actually in labor, right? 4.5 days later, and start to push. And everyone in my life is like, oh, second born, you're gonna push 3 times, she's gonna fly out of there. After an hour and a half of pushing, I'm like, guys, I'm gonna need a little encouragement. I turn around, I'm on all fours on this bed. I turn around
Yeah.
and I go, guys, I'm gonna need some cheerleaders. I'm gonna need a little bit of encouragement. I'm not feeling great. What's happening back there? And the sweetest nurse in the world, this woman goes, oh, she's doing great. Isn't she doing great, doctor? She's so close. And my doctor, once again, different doctor than the guy who said he'd let me suffer, sighs and goes, no, she's not progressing. Not at all. And so I turn around and I say, thank you for your honesty. What are we going to do? Because I'm quite tired.
I did not know this part.
Yeah. And at this point, I had been in the bed for so long, I had knots up the one side of my back. Oh,
Yeah.
also, I have been given massive hits of Zofran, and I'm throwing up. I puke all over my husband, projectile vomited. Um, just liquid is just coming out
Yeah.
of my body.
Yeah. Like the
Um,
like an exorcism.
and quite like an exorcism. Now, in
Did your
general, I'm a nausea girl. I don't think that's
Yeah.
most people. I don't think that's a lot of people's experiences, but this girl she ain't getting headaches. She ain't getting tummy aches. She's just getting
She
nausea.
is nauseous.
She is. And so fine. So at this point, I like can't move my body the way it needs to move. I'm not able to push her out the last little bit. And so my doula comes up and she's like, we're going to do something called tug of war. And she gives me a bed sheet and she has me grip onto it and she tries to pull me up. What the other thing that happened is that I developed severe carpal tunnel in my third trimester. I can't grip said sheet to do the tug of war. I fall back. This is dramatic. And just so everyone knows, the entire thing I'm saying, this entire labor is fuck, Jesus, fuck, just insane. So I'm like, I can't do it.
The way I'm picturing you in this experience, okay, for whatever reason, like your arm is still gigantic from the thing
Yes.
slipping out. Okay. Your skin is bubbled up
Bubbled
from
up.
that thing. You're on all fours.
For some
You have
reason, I look like a
carpal
troll.
tunnel.
Yes, I look like a troll. Things are happening. I am also, you are on fluid for so many days.
You
I am
turn
so
around and
swole.
you turn around, you're like, I need encouragement.
No one's giving it to me.
That's what I'm picturing.
So then I'm like, shit, I can't do it. I was like, but I feel like that could have worked. So my doula, Lacey, KOP doulas, ties two bed sheets together. She throws them behind my back, puts my husband behind me, and goes, on the next contraction, you're just going to push. Don't move your body. She has my husband shove me forward. She runs across the room, pulls me up like an aerial yoga move. Kid flies out. Nobody catches her. tumbles onto the bed. She didn't like hit the floor.
Wait, actually, she actually flew out. When you said
She
that,
did. She
I
didn't
thought it
hit the
was like
floor.
I thought it
No,
was like a
no,
figure
no.
of speech. No,
She comes out in a tidal wave, and Aaron, my husband describes it as if you ever watch like World's Funniest, America's Funniest Home Videos, and it'd
Yes,
be like somebody tripping into an above ground pool and the water flows
of
out like a
course.
tidal wave. He was like, "That's what happened to your body. You flooded out the room. Everyone's shoes were ruined. The baby come flying. Nobody caught her because nobody thought it was going to happen.
I see. So she like flooded out in like a pool
She
of
did."
liquid.
And it turns out she had the cord wrapped around her neck twice, which is why she
Oof.
wouldn't come out because it was pulling her back. She wasn't like blue or anything. She was fine. But that's like what like kept it that was making it so difficult to push. But essentially, she flows out. A tidal wave hits the entire room. If you know my husband,
What's her position when she's flying out? Is it like a
you know what? I missed it. I was.
right? You're a little busy.
She apparently tumbled onto the bed, and
Right.
everyone's like, "Oh my god!" And the doctor goes, "I did not think that was gonna work." And you don't understand, like there was like this like there's like this like silent tension between doctors and doulas often.
Interesting.
Like they don't like often they're like offended that
Yeah.
you brought a doula, whatever. There's like all this stuff. And I'm sure that's not all doctors and all doulas, but there can be like some unspoken things.
Yeah.
And she goes, "That is a really good doula." This woman
It's really
did not mean
nice.
to be funny the entire labor, and I
And
was
she was
laughing my ass off.
I mean, you needed something to laugh about after being
Yes.
in labor for 4 days. And let me just say, if you know Emily, she is the last person who should be stuck in bed for 4 days. She
I'm really not good at it.
needs to walk around. She needs to move her body.
Mm-hmm.
Like
The
so
first
much
two, though, I
so.
wasn't stuck in bed. The first 48 hours, I was sending videos of squats, like me doing
Yes,
squats in the
she
hallway,
was moving
trying to get her
around.
out.
Yes.
And then I thought I was
Emily,
going to give birth. So I got the epidural and I didn't give birth.
she was stuck.
Hours. I was stuck in bed.
She hates being in bed so much that she made me do the mattress ad because it didn't fit for her.
I was
It
like, I'll
did
record all
for
the other
me.
ads, but I cannot. I can't. I did love the mattress. We did get it. They send us
Oh, the
beautiful
mattress is
mattresses.
great.
Listen, but I can't properly advocate for bed.
Right? For bed. So,
So
okay.
okay, so this is what I mean that like For a lot of people listening, maybe their first time or maybe their second time and they're trying to figure it out. And I'm just going to say anything anyone says to you is a lie because they're not you.
Right.
It's not your body. It's not their time. You're not the same person. The baby isn't the same way. And so we do this thing where we try to find control by getting information. So whether
Yeah.
that's Google or ChatGPT or Reddit or talking to friends and families a million times or over asking questions as doctors, and it just isn't the same as when you get there. Because the issue is, I went in, here's the difference of two different things that I did. In my first pregnancy, I went in with zero expectations of labor, but high expectations of postpartum. So I had no idea what labor was going to look like. But in my head, the first time of postpartum, it was going to be like, I got this. I've worked with a million postpartum women. I have support. Turns out I suck at asking for support. I'll be fine. I'll have newborn bliss. I'm so excited. I want to be a mom. And I went in with no expectations of labor. Funny enough, lovely birth experience the first time, horrific postpartum experience the second first time.
Interesting.
This time, I went in with high expectations of the birth experience because I was like, I did this once. I'm going to get induced. I get to control this. I'm not sitting waiting around. The baby's going to come when they say she's going to come. And I went into postpartum as like, as long as I don't die and I do not fucking like end up running down the street naked, like I'm going to be, as long as I like don't beat the shit out of my husband, like that is my like low expectations.
Right.
And then my postpartum experience has been wonderful this time around.
Wow.
And so whether you're first time mom, a second time mom, sixth time mom, it's just all different. And
Yeah.
comparing it to even your own previous stories or someone else's, it's probably not going to be that helpful. And something you have always taught me, Jen, is just have low expectations. Yes.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yes.
Having low
Low
expectations.
to no.
You always exceed them. Well, I think a big piece of that too is right, like there's so many things that can happen in birth. And it's so terrifying, I think, for a lot of people who maybe haven't given birth.
Mm-hmm.
And so, right, that's why we gather information. Like the more information,
Of course.
the more people I ask, the more I will, like, I'll be able to manage the
Yes.
anxiety around it.
Handle this, control this,
Right.
tolerate it, whatever it is. We think, right? Like, um, if I can predict it, I can prevent it.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What advice would you give to people who are in that phase of like, I'm anxious about giving birth and, I'm gathering all this information? Like, what advice would you
Mm-hmm.
give to those people?
I think that a certain amount of control is really helpful, but it's not the control you often think it is, right? So gathering information, in theory, you think it's helpful, but it actually isn't helpful as like making sure, like, you know what, I am able to access those diapers at 3 in the morning when there was shit all over me, or like I actually did meal prep for myself or figure out ways to take care of myself, right? So like, and here is the numbers of the 5 people I'm going to call when I'm like really struggling. So like information, I think, does not give you the security. Prepping yourself for the emotional and mental part, I think, is more helpful because I do think there's a lot of stuff you can do to prepare yourself, right? So, like, I'm a really big advocate, if it's financially feasible, is to have a doula.
Yeah.
I really think that they explain things in a different way than doctors because doctors are taking insurance and they have a million people to worry about. And that is not their fault. Doctors are fucking awesome. Labor and delivery nurses are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's just that you're not the only person there on that ward. They're going back and forth. They have other people there. That doula is coming for you.
Yeah.
And it's personal and it's private. And like, once again, if it's financially feasible, having a birth doula really, I think, changes the experience.
Mm,
Making sure you like that person, you feel confident in their skills, you feel like they get you, you feel like you can advocate to them, that you feel like they help you advocate to the doctors, whatever it is. Where like I went in and was like, I'm not having a C-section. I know that if I am stuck on a couch for 6 weeks recovering from a major surgery, C-section is a major surgery, like you said, that would not be healthy for me.
no.
Right. And so I've said, like, if it was a medical emergency, of course, do whatever it needs to do. But If they just want to flip the bed and get me out of here, I ain't doing a C-section.
Right.
And actually, this time I delivered at a smaller hospital than I delivered my first with, and it was a very different experience. They
Different
did
how?
just I didn't feel like they brought up C-section like so quick, and the other one, like the other place, I feel like jumps to it. This place was like, once again, we're gonna let you suffer.
Let you suffer.
We ain't got shit to do, baby. We're here for you. So so I think like you prepare for what you could prepare, but think about what you actually need. All of that information after the baby comes, I don't know what it does for you. It does nothing.
Right.
Who are you gonna call? What's gonna work for you?
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters, right? Baby Blues Busters. Zoloft, a Zoloft prescription. Like, who are you gonna
Zoloft.
call?
Yes.
And the other thing I did is like last time I went off all my meds
Yeah.
because I was so worried. I stayed on all of my meds this time. Amazing. And I had
So,
people make negative comments about it. Like I had somebody say to me, like, you went off that shit, right? And I was like, nope.
wow.
I have a doctor, I had an IVF specialist, and I had my own psychiatrist who was like, all you have to do is take extra folic acid. You're good to stay on this. And that's obviously not true for
Wow.
every psychiatric med, but for mine, it was. And it was way safer for me to stay on meds than go off of them.
Yeah. What was that like for you getting comments like that? Did you ever get other comments like that when you were pregnant?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the number one comment, right? You like always like, I mean, listen, what happens at the end of your pregnancy is people will say, oh my God, are you having twins or are you due tomorrow? Like I like at the hospital like 5 times. Remember I told you that they kept being like,
Yeah.
do you think it's a big baby? Like, do you think she's big? Like you, wow, like you really big stomach. And I'm like, why do you guys keep asking me that? Like I can fucking see inside myself. Like I have no idea how big this baby is. She was 8 pounds flat, which is like a very normal size baby,
Right.
but I'm in a larger size body.
Right.
So I probably maybe looked bigger than someone who's in a really small body. But that does not mean that she was a big baby.
Right. And they were making that those comments towards the end happened a few times from medical
Quite,
professionals.
quite a few times.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Do you think it's gonna be a big baby? What was your first one? I'm like, why do you aren't you who's in
Aren't
charge?
you the one, right? Aren't you the one who should be telling me this?
Like, what? I don't
What?
know.
I'm
Isn't I'd be
sorry.
scared. And to the point where I was like, by then I was like, I'm scared this kid's gonna be huge because you all keep making comments
You're
about
freaking
it.
me out here.
Like, what the fuck?
Okay, let me ask you another question because
Hmm.
we've talked about this. Your first time postpartum was very difficult for you,
Yeah, it was horrible.
really bad.
Hmm.
So 6 years later, I know it's been 12 days,
Yeah,
but
it could still happen.
it could still happen,
Yeah.
right? As of now,
For some
how's
people, I mean, for some people, postpartum depression does not start until 6 to 9 months.
right?
Yeah,
So as of now, how are you doing
great.
postpartum?
So much better. So I think there's a few factors that led into that.
Yeah.
One, I am not an anxious fucking mess.
Yeah.
I am so much more calmer and I'm not trying to prove something, right? Like I feel like before it was like I needed to prove that I could do this and be a mom. So I sucked at asking for help and I sucked at preparing myself and I sucked at being in tune with myself because I was like, I'm just going to go on autopilot and it'll be fine. Um, at the time, my husband didn't have any paternity leave. That makes a huge difference not being alone in your house. My husband went back to work 2 days after Millie was born and he started traveling at 6 weeks. So to have help is a huge thing. And I know that there's people listening that do not have people to help them. And whether you live far away from your family, whether you don't have supportive family, there's a million things could be why. And that is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Um, I think where we live in Pennsylvania, having a baby in February is very different than having a baby in June. Now maybe if you live in Florida and Texas, you'd feel a different situation. It's better to
Right.
plan for the winter
Right.
baby. But up here, it's been much better to be able to go out and take a walk and to walk outside and to not be so scared about germs. I was so anxious about germs the first
Mm,
time. Um, and like I said, I just had zero expectations. I said, what can I do to take care of myself? I went into it thinking this is going to be horrible. Because it was like, why was to say this would be better? But I also think staying on my meds was a massive difference for me. Having the support, not being an anxious mess. Um, her cries don't hurt the same way. Like when my first daughter would
Interesting.
cry, I felt like I was in physical pain. I couldn't handle it. She cries and I'm like, you're gonna have to wait a minute, babe.
What do
You're gonna
you what do
I'm
you
gonna get to you later.
what do you attribute that to?
I don't know. Like, is it brain chemistry, right? Because they've done like
Right?
fMRIs of moms' brains while their kids are crying, and
Yeah.
their pain receptors go off.
Yeah,
So
no,
there's
it
like,
makes
yes,
sense.
yeah. So there's like research of this. It doesn't feel like that the same way. But when my firstborn would cry, I would lose my shit. If it was in physical pain.
Well, I wonder too. I'm obviously just pulling this out of my ass and I don't know, but like it's something that like your body got used to. Right?
Yeah,
That was the
maybe.
first time you were experiencing
But
it.
I'm going to tell you something. Even when my firstborn cries now, it's harder for me. There is something about your firstborn child, I think,
Wow.
because right there's like a saying online that's like, firstborns grow up with parents, they don't get raised by parents. And I do listen, I don't want to admit that's true,
Yeah.
but you're doing a lot of trial and error with your firstborn.
Yeah. You're also
They get a
six
they get it,
years.
yes, they get a
You're
different parent than
yeah.
the other
You're
one does.
also 6 years older now.
Yeah,
Like
it's a big difference.
that's a significant difference as a parent.
Yes, absolutely.
Like just in your own like
Yeah,
emotional growth from when you were 29,
yeah.
right?
Teen mom, in my opinion.
Teen mom.
I recently said that to someone who actually was a teen mom, and I was like, that was probably pretty rude. I'm
That was
very sorry
probably
about that.
insensitive. You went
I was
from
like, oh, I apologize.
you know what's wild is you went from a teen mom to a geriatric
That's
mom
yeah, that is
in
also
just
really
six
that is
six
really that's
years.
super fun when they call you that,
Right.
right?
It's
They're like,
wild how
oh,
that
you're high risk
happens.
for your IVF geriatric and your morbid obesity or whatever. I'm
It's
like,
real
cool.
cool, cool. This has been fun.
I have enjoyed these interactions. And also, you have to understand, I also do think it's funny as hell. Like, I'm also someone who thinks most things are funny.
Because also you gotta find the humor, you
What am I
know?
gonna do?
What are you gonna do?
It was
You
so
gotta
funny.
find the
You have to
humor.
go in like that last few weeks, like before you have a medical induction, you have to get what's called like NST, like a non-stress test. And you
Yeah.
go in once a week and they like strap you this machine and they just make sure like your blood pressure is good, your heart's good, and baby's heart rate and movements are good. And the woman was like, oh yeah, well, I see you have like a few factors here for the medical induction. And I was like, oh, my weight. And she was like, well, I wasn't gonna say it out loud. I was like, that's okay, you can. She was like, oh wow, you're really cool about this. I was like, yeah, I'm cool, aren't I?
You're a cool lady.
I'm a
You're
cool
cool.
mom.
You're cool and
I
comfortable
know
with
what my body
yourself.
looks like.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you. We don't have to
Sick.
pretend here. So yeah, I just think, listen, if you take away anything from this episode, it's a million people are going to tell you a million different things about what motherhood and postpartum and birth and fertility and all those things are. And don't fucking listen.
Wow. Love that.
If it's helpful, if it makes you feel better, that's great. I think it probably did make me feel better going into the birth thinking like, oh, this is going to be so easy, everyone told me it's so easy. um it wasn't true.
Right.
So, and so I just think that what you can do is be in tune with yourself, take care of yourself, go to therapy, get meds, talk about it sooner. The biggest mistake and the biggest difficulty I had with my first birth was that I was so angry and I was so anxious. I've
Mm,
talked about it before. I couldn't walk up and down stairs because I had
yeah.
such intense intrusive thoughts
Yeah.
about throwing her down the stairs and her falling down the stairs. And I'm walking up and down the stairs fine. And I really would also probably say that's the meds.
Can I ask you a final question?
Yes.
What would you say to your 29-year-old postpartum self?
Oh, call for medication sooner.
Yeah.
Ask for help sooner, I would say. It was February. I had just moved to where I was living. Right. I
Hmm.
remember I moved 8 months. I was 8 months pregnant when we moved into this
Yeah.
house. I did not have a community. I have a huge community now. Like my first week home, I had friends that were my wonderful friend Alicia DoorDashed us like dinner in the evenings. I had people bringing me by Starbucks. You came and brought me the most beautiful flowers, and socks for my husband. Um, and I let people in and I
Yeah.
ask for help, which is really different than anything I've done before.
I love that.
That's what I think you can do. So we've said this before, like sometimes you need to do the opposite of what your anxiety is telling you to do. My anxiety is someone who tells me to do everything myself and fuck everyone else and be spiteful. Anger, anxiety, whatever you want to call it. And so what I would say is try to do it differently.
Mm, so good. Well, congratulations. The whole Shrink Chicks community. If I can speak on behalf of the entire Shrink Chicks community, we are so happy for you.
Baby
And
birdie.
Birdie, so thrilled.
Right? Little bird. Here she is.
Little
Bird calls.
bird.
Also,
Let's
we were unaware of how funny the name Birdie was going to be. So she got a bird bath. My boobs are bird food. She'll have a bird gang one day.
bird.
She's bird poop, bird pooped, you know? The
There's
name
so
worked
many
out
good
great. So
ones.
many, I was unaware, especially when you're from Philadelphia, baby.
Yeah,
Bird
really
gang.
works
Let's
out.
stir it
Right.
up. Go birds.
Sundays for the birds.
Sundays for the birds. Here we are,
Didn't
baby.
even
Here
think
she
about
is.
that.
So love you guys. We have some more episodes pre-recorded that'll be coming out in the next few weeks. And when I'm back from maternity leave, I'll talk to you all then.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Shrink Chicks.
We'll see you back here next week for another session.
In the meantime, if you want a question answered or a topic discussed, follow us on Instagram at ShrinkChicks. And if you're looking to get connected with a therapist like us to start or continue your therapeutic journey, visit thetherapygroup.com. Just fill out a contact form on our website, and we will personally match you with one of our amazing therapists. And for all of our therapists and group practice owners out there, we also offer group practice consulting.
And if you're looking to support yourself further and support our show, check out our amazing merch options at shrinkchicks.com/merch and our Know Yourself, Grow Yourself journal on Amazon. Also, if you'd be so kind, we'd love a rating review and for you to share with a friend or an enemy or a mother-in-law, honestly, whoever needs it, so that we can keep reaching more people on our mission to bring mental health topics to your ears every week.
Thanks for being here with us. And don't forget to grow yourself. You got to know yourself.